Hello everyone, welcome to another in the studio. Today we are going to have a look at ghost drum hits. So for those who don't know, a ghost hit is simply a hit that is much quieter, very subtle in the background, but they can really go a long way into breaking up a rigid groove or just bringing some extra life, complexity, and interest to a drum pattern. So I have this little mock-up loop here, and what we're going to do is program a rim shot loop that complements the snare I already have that has some nice ghost hits in there that really add to the groove. So I'll let you listen to what we're working with. Super simple. And here's the rim shot I picked out for this. I'm going to turn this up a little bit while we're working on it. Okay, so first off, let's just send this to the piano roll. I have a nice long 16 bar pattern laid out for this. A lot of times when I do these kind of secondary like clap, snare, rim shot layers, sometimes I'll go for a longer pattern, especially when I want to do some subtle ghost hits in the background. So let's go ahead, send this to the piano roll, and start programming this. So let's do a basic. Let's extend these out. Turn these velocities up. Okay. And then maybe we'll just start with, with a little hit on the 16th note at the end of every 2 bars. Do a little ghost hit there, and then we'll kind of expand upon this. So I'm going to highlight this and then extend this out for 16 bars. So highlight it, Control B to latch paste if you don't know. Okay, cool. Before we get too far though, I think I want to tighten up the envelope a little bit. I do like the texture that this has, but I want to tighten the envelope up. I think I want a more closed sound, a little bit more snappy. So I'm going to edit the envelope here, and we'll just play with the decay. Yeah, something like that. I think we'll do the trick. Cool. And what I also want to try is I'm going to highlight all of these, and I might just shift the pitch up and down just to see if I can find maybe a different pitch where this sits nicer with the elements I already have. So I'm going to highlight everything, hold shift, and then use my arrow keys up and down to pitch this up and down, and just have a listen and see if I could find maybe a different spot where this sits better with the rest of the drums. I actually like it here on this pitch down a little bit, so I'm going to leave it right here. All right, cool. And then first thing I might do is maybe just go through these little 16th note ghost hits that are at the end of every 2 bars. Maybe just alter some of the velocities so they're not all the same. Okay. Maybe here we'll start with one little hit on the offbeat. Yeah. Cool. And then right here, I think maybe a little hit right before beat 4. Turn that one down a little bit, make that super subtle. Cool. And then I'm thinking here, let's move this one to the offbeat. We'll add another one on the offbeat here in bar 11. And then right here, let's change the grid and maybe do like a little stuttery, skippy triplet pattern little roll here. So I'm going to change this to 1/6 beat. And then in beat 3 of bar 11, I'm going to add a little skippy roll here. See how that sounds. That could be cool. I like that. Change this back to cell. And then this is too loud. Let's turn this down. Okay, I might even turn down the velocities on that little pattern here a little bit. That's just a little bit more subtle. That's better. Cool. So the next thing I want to do is maybe push all of those hits slightly behind the beat. If I zoom in, you can see that my main snare here actually occurs slightly. See, there's a little, just slightly before the beat is when that's coming in. So what I might try is to maybe push this one slightly behind the beat. And a lot of times when you're layering snares, claps, and rims, just slightly separating the transients so they're not all right on top of each other can really give those elements a little bit more space to breathe and do their thing, and also allow the kick to have priority on the actual beat right on the grid. So let's try pushing all these back. I actually just might loop up a bar really quick while we're doing this so we can listen. It's going to loop up this one here, and then let's go into the piano roll, and I'm just going to highlight everything. I'm going to turn the grid to none so I can freely nudge this around, And then while this is playing back, I'm going to hold shift, use my arrow key to the right to push it behind the beat slightly. So let's have a listen here. So, and that's slightly shifted, one click over. Normal. Yeah. So that's back to normal. Listen, it's subtle, but it just feels like it has a little bit more space to do its thing. And that's shifted there. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to leave that slightly shifted behind the beat, as you can see there. Cool. So let's just loop this back up here and we'll just have a listen to it. Now this is something that I wouldn't have very loud. I just kind of have it tucked back a little bit in the background, just to, you know, make that snare pattern interesting throughout the entirety of a track. And those ghost hits really help accomplish that. So let's give this a listen here. Without it. And there you go. And then it's also probably worth experimenting, maybe panning those little ghost hits around and not leaving them central. That's probably something that I would do. So you could just go into here, go into note pan, and fiddle around with maybe panning some of those ghost hits around the stereo field for even more interest and variety. And maybe even doing some small fine pitch adjustments too would be cool. There's a lot you can do. So I just wanted to give you kind of a basic overview of how I might go about programming a pattern with some ghost hits and what they can actually, you know, bring to the table as far as adding a little bit more life to a stale groove. Hopefully you enjoyed it. That's it for today. I'll catch you soon, everyone. Cheers.